Last time we already did the whole portrait study with charcoal, starting from the compositions to the big shape to finish the whole portrait study. Now from here on, we're going to spend the time to isolate each area to have a little bit more in-depth study. If this is your first time watching my videos, this channel is all about how to make drawing and painting fun and easy. If you'd like to learn more about portrait drawing and painting, please subscribe and turn on notification. Today we're going to study the two eyes. I'm going to use this paper. It is Artisa's mixed media pad. It's a very good quality. 110 pounds, and the size is half of the letter size. For the drawing tools, I'm going to use this box of Artisa's pencil. Now let's start the drawing. There's some challenge when we talk about how to draw these two eyes. Not just the two eyes. It's very important to see how the shape, the form is changing. So we're going to talk about how to take care of the structure before we're working into inside of the details. I start with this pencil B. I'm going to say on the left side, I'm going to put it over here. The right side of the eye, let's point it in here. We're going to isolate just looking at the two eyes. Okay. If this is the location, the eyebrows probably would be in this location. Now we can relate between these two eyebrows. It looks like this eyebrow is a little bit higher, this eyebrow is a little bit lower. So we can draw the connection line a little bit higher like this. Right? And the eye, it will be on this area. So always start from big before you go into small. Okay, so the eye. And you also can do the measurement. So you find out between the space between the eyebrows and the eye compared to we can see this like a whole rectangle. To see how we can divide this into the different areas and compare with the proportion. And let's see. For between the eye, the corner over here, the corner over here. And we can easily divide it into three. So always you can use a finger to help. So you can find this eye a little bit bigger, this side a little bit, slightly a little bit smaller, like that. And let's put something on the paper before we looking at the structure. Okay, put something over here. I look at some of our members' recent portrait study, and it seems like something stick out to calling my attention. That you focus on the smaller areas too early and making them disconnect with the rest of the drawing. And that's very easy to create a problem if you are just looking at one eye and spend too much time isolated and then isolated in another one. That would create a problem. So you always like bouncing off into the entire areas. Like at this point, we're gonna look at the whole two eyes and the structure around the two eyes first. Okay, even though you are working in the detail, we're still going to only working on spend a little time in one area and then have to switch to another areas quicker. Now we're gonna compare the angle between those two eyes. Okay. Now the angle should be coming up like this, which is most likely is correct now. And the bottom shape and like this. Just do a little bit, keep a little bit like this. And then come into this side. Always relate to the whole picture. That's the hard part because it's a habit. You want to have this habit. Okay, now I'm looking at compare these two eyes, and the eyebrows start over here. Now pay attention to the space between the eyebrows and the eye. Keep it simple, like that. And coming back over here, and this could be even a little bit lower, like that. Look at the shape over here, and so this is the beginning. And look at this point of the eyebrows connect to the corner of the eye. It looks like a little bit off, like the angular line. It will be like this angle, and then it looks like this. The shape of the ridge, and looks like a divide into like, it's almost like a 1, 2, 3, but the middle part is a little bit more, like a 1, 2, and 3, like that. Always try to relate, and when you're relating, and so naturally make you need to look for the relationship. Proportion is a part of the relationship, right? Okay, this right over here, like that. Now, if you rush into inside of the eye, then most likely you're gonna start ignoring the shape, the big shape of the eye. So think about this, the shape, that's the outside shape, right? Like that. Look at the bigger shape. So we're also going to include the lower eyelid. What is really important in the drawing process, I think, is the process, is the steps. And if you have a habit of ignoring the fundamental, the big shape, and that's most likely you're going to end up every time it seems like the drawing is out of control. You want to have every step, give it enough attention. Okay, now we divide this shape now into some different planes like this, and on this side, this area, and also you can add some shading. Okay, and then on the lower eyelid, I also have a little shading, a little bit darker. Just put a few lines. We're still in the early stage. Okay, like that. And then think about inside over here, also a little bit darker. And in this area, also a little bit darker. Like that. And over here, also start dim down a little bit. Right, so this is the beginning stage. Also over here, I can. So leave this area a little bit lighter. Like that. So when you draw only one eye, you just focus on the one eye. Now we're drawing two eyes together. it gives a little bit more challenge because you have to take care of the relationship between the two eyes before you're looking at the one eye. Okay, so I'm gonna add a little end over here. Like this. So on this side is also a little bit darker, a little bit dimmer. So this pencil is a B, it's right in the middle, like not really hard, but it's not very soft. Like this. So far we only have one direction of lines to shade. Like that. Looks good. Now this is the first step. Keep it loose. Looks like I feel like undefined, but this is good. In your mind, it's quite defined. In your mind, every step it has a focus. Okay, when you get to this step, now we're gonna give a little bit more details here. So making sure the size between these two eyes and the space between the two eyes, like thinking about that, this is actually almost like a one eye space in between. Now we're gonna look into inside of the eye, how we're gonna divide it. I can see a triangle on this side, and I can see this from this side of the iris to the outside edge of the eye. So almost like this is half in between this. So always can make it into the relationship, the proportion. Okay, that could be a little bit higher, like that. So there's a two spot is highlight. And coming to this side, I also see a triangle over here. That's the corner. A triangle on this side. And the iris. It's like the angle coming up over here and then end it here. There's a little small triangle like that. Not necessarily the thing is an eye. It's because what you're looking for is not looking for eye, looking for shapes instead. So I'm going to draw the areas for the highlight over here. We can always modify the shape of the highlight by using eraser. Okay, like that. Now let's first shade it a little bit value into the iris. You don't have to make it really dark at this point, and we can work into the details a little bit later and shade it a little bit. Okay, in the middle over here is the pupil, so always look darker. And also the top over here has some cast shadow, like that. I'm going to use the nitty eraser. I'm going to light up a little bit, make a little very sharp shape. Okay, now that's good enough. Okay, now what's the next thing I'm going to do? I'm going to start taking care of the texture. So what I can do, I'm going to use the big size blender. I'm going to just, I don't want to press it too hard. In that case, the texture would be too smooth, maybe. It just have it on the top. It just lightly touch the surface of the paper. Okay. Careful how hard that you push the paper blender, and you come up with different kind of texture. And when you're using the blender, you be a little careful. Like you can use the tip. You can use the whole slanted side, or you can sometimes I even use the whole handle of to blend it. So if you need to use a little bigger area, like for example over here, I'm going to use the whole side over here, touch this. Now you can see this whole areas become touch the paper. Similar to how we use the flat brush. So you always need to know what is the most efficiency to use a tool. Now at this point we start notice the structure and try to see how can we create a proper structure. And also after you doing the blending, is the whole thing looks a little bit too soft, right? So it's okay. We can come back to rebuilding the contrast. Okay. Like that. I'm not going to draw the outside, the hair, for this, just the study purpose. We focus on the two eyes and the surrounding structure. Like that. Okay, I'm also going to soften this. I don't want to get a little bit too low. Like that. I'm going to use H. Keep it a little bit lighter. Yeah, take a look. And this side, I think it can be a little bit higher. When you need a little bit lighter pencil, you're going to the H. Bigger and bigger number, it will be harder and harder. The H stands for hardness. Okay. Now I want to see the structure. Now first I'm gonna give it some definition back over here. I'm gonna make this a little bit darker. That we're gonna look into the detail a little bit later, and like the eyelashes is part of the detail. We don't need to work on that right now. So for our members, you will see all the detail process of this project, and I would really like you to follow the same procedures. Let's work on it one at a time, and all the way to the end, which is a watercolor portrait painting. But we need to understand the structure by heart before we can go into do the painting and making sure it's going to be successful at the end. If this is work for you, and I would make every project in the same similar process. Like that. Now the structure a little bit better. And here I'm going to use this angle. This is what the contour of the surface is. Like that. Most of the time, it's not that you don't know how to draw or how to use the tools. And most of the time, you are either going, making the tensions, putting the tensions into the wrong place, and making the whole drawing is unrelated. So you always start from big and going smaller. It sounds easy, but it's not a natural drawing process. So most of the people, they would easily going sidetrack and going into the and in the eye over here, eye white is not really white, it's gray color. It just need to focus one step at a time. Okay. Now, we're gonna come back to take a look at how can we build the structure, the suggestions, like the eye coming up out here and coming in and then up on top of the nose, and then in again, and then up and then in, right? So we need to make sure we have that done before we going into, again, inside the eye area. Okay, so I'm gonna have this side a little bit dimmer, a little bit darker. We understand the light is coming very much from the top, like this angle, right? So this side, it would be not the direction facing to the light. Okay, like we're gonna give the indications of the lower eyelid, making sure that it looks like the eye over here curve and coming in. So making sure this is also a little bit darker, because the lower eyelid over here is actually like this angle and coming over like that. So this is also, and catch the direction of the surface. Now coming onto this side, this is also coming in, become a little bit deeper. And on this area, and it start curve up to the middle of the up here between these two space. So coming in and then start coming up. Understand the structure is important. After you understand it, don't just try to make it up. You need to find the visual elements. and inside over here. Now comparing inside everywhere the iris, what's the value compared to the whole drawing? Okay, and this is dark, and also the top over here is dark because catch the shadow, but down here it's a little bit lighter. Okay, that value almost like the eyebrows color, right? So we can compare. So I'm gonna make this a little bit darker, but it's not the darkest. Now I'm gonna use this 2B to start draw the eyelashes. Okay, now this drawing study is finished. In our next videos in this project, we're gonna learn how to draw the nose. This channel is all about how to make drawing and painting fun and easy. If you'd like to learn more about portrait drawing and painting, please subscribe and turn on notification. If you can support us, join our Enjoying Art artist community. You can upload your drawing and painting. You can get feedback. I'm looking forward to see you in my next video.